Everyone, I'm Katie Obergon and welcome to my presentation on places I've traveled. The first one is Hawaii. I was 6 years old on spring break with my family. We stayed on the big island at the Hilton Village and I got to swim with dolphins and go golfing for the first time. I also traveled to the Volcanic National Park and it's an experience I've never forgotten. Just seeing real lava and it erupting while driving by is something I'd never forget. Next is San Diego. This is a place I used to go to a lot. I'd always do day trips to Old Town San Diego with my parents, and I always remember getting taquitos at this hole-in-the-wall restaurant and have those for lunch. My parents used to take us twice a year to Legoland, and it was super cool, especially as young kids. This is also a place where a lot of weekends I'd spend the week at soccer tournaments. Next is Italy. My first time out of the country, I was about 10 years old, and my entire family went. We first stayed at a hotel right around the corner from the Colosseum. We then took my grandpa to Pompeii, a place he fought at when he was in the Navy. It was something so cool to relive with my grandpa and hear all the stories about it. Lastly, we then went into the countryside of Italy and rented a villa for an entire week. My entire family was there, and it was something that was just so magical and peaceful. Next is San Francisco, a place that truthfully isn't my favorite place to visit. It's always so expensive and crowded and dirty. I went when I was 12 for the first time with my family. We visited Alcatraz, the prison in the middle. It was so spooky yet so cool. We also visited the Fisherman's Wharf. It was so crowded with so many people they could barely have any personal space, but they do have the best clam chowder, and I would go there again just for the clam chowder. Next is Las Vegas, a place I've only been to about maybe 2 or 3 times. Never got to experience Vegas, obviously, not 21, but I only went here for soccer, so it's strictly kind of a business trip. Yes, we walked around the strip. To me, nothing special, but at night, it's so gorgeous with all the lights and everything. I couldn't really stay out late, obviously, since we had morning games, but this is something that it's nice to go to. Yes, it's expensive, yes, it's very crowded, and yes, you gotta be careful. There's a bunch of smoke in the casinos, which is kind of cool to experience the casino vibe, I guess, but I just hate the smell of smoke because I start coughing and just having coughing attacks. But this is a place I feel like you should experience. Maybe not for soccer, because soccer is my everything, but this would be a good place to visit once you're 21 and get to experience everything. If you're not, it's kind of boring because you could visit the M&M factory, which I did, or the Coca-Cola factory, which I did also. And the Coca-Cola factory is super cool because you get to drink all the Coca-Colas from around the world. Some better than others, obviously. But yes, I've been here 2 or 3 times just for soccer, and it's alright. They have nice soccer fields, if we care about that. But yeah, it's alright. I do recommend going here. But yeah. Next is Yosemite, my absolute favorite vacation spot. A place that is near and dear to my heart and a place I would visit every summer with my entire family or just my family of 4. We'd either rent a nice, huge cabin or go tent camping in the center of Yosemite. We would go on all these beautiful hikes. We would go canoeing. We would go whitewater rafting when there's a bunch of water. And we would also see a bunch of bears, a bunch of deer. It was just something that was just so relaxing. We never had cell reception, so we always just got to bond with each other, play card games, sit around the campfire, just absolute camping stuff. That's just the best thing ever. Yes, there are mosquitoes and other bugs that are just nasty, but this is a place I highly recommend going to. It's so beautiful and everything. We were supposed to go this past summer, but sadly the fires took over Yosemite, and that's when we were supposed to go, and they closed Yosemite, so that's why we went to Nipomo. But I do recommend going here. My most recent vacation was this past summer to Nipomo, a city in the central coast of California where my entire family went. We rented a house that fitted 20 people, and it was the best time ever. We visited Morro Bay, the rock on the left side of your screen. We visited Hearst Castle on the right side of the screen, which was something so spectacular. It was so expensive, so large, just someone actually built that and it was just so mind-blowing. Lastly, we visited Solvang on the way back home, and this was a city that I was kind of surprised by, but it was just a cute little town. All the food was super good, and I highly recommend visiting Solvang.